When I first had my experience and I came back, I had a neurologist that said, Vinney, be really careful about what you think you remember about your experience because it's all delusion. I was able to see spirit, speak to spirit on a daily basis after I got back. I thought, if I'm really schizophrenic, I need to get on medicine. And so I did go to a mental health professional. He was going to write me out 3 prescriptions. And while he's writing them out, a woman appears in the room. She goes, "Don't you dare take these prescriptions until you tell him this sentence."
Welcome to the Curious Soul Podcast. I'm Cristina Malavenda.
And I'm Marty Go. We're 2 best friends exploring the deeper meaning of life
And the moments that connect us all.
Hi, Cristina.
Hi, Marty. Today, I'm so excited because we've already had the opportunity to talk to Vincent Tolman about his near-death experience, which I know was so profound for both of us. I'm so excited to have him back and talk more about the lessons that he learned during that time that he was dead for more than 30 minutes. So I am just wondering if you could tell us what near-death experiences are again for our audience.
So, a near-death experience is a profound psychological event reported by people who are close to death or who have clinically died, as in the case of Vincent Tolman. And while they vary, common features include out-of-body sensations, moving through a tunnel toward a bright light, a life review, and feelings of overwhelming peace, love, or encountering deceased loved ones. So I'm super excited to talk to him today again because I read his book, and let me tell y'all, it is crazy in the best way possible. He talks about principles that I try to read every day to live my life by because it has brought me so much peace and happiness into following who I feel like I want to be and to live in this joy and happiness that he's experienced and really advises us through his book and his work. I'm so excited for you to hear about this, Cristina.
Me too, 100%.
Let me tell you a little bit about Vincent Tolman. At the age of 25, Vinney was found dead in the bathroom of a small restaurant. He had been dead for over a half an hour, and when paramedics arrived, they put him in a body bag and took him away. A rookie paramedic had a feeling to risk his career, break all protocols, and try to resuscitate Vincent. And miraculously, he started Vinney's heart, and Vincent was in a coma for 3 days. He remembers what happened on the other side while he was dead. Vinney's profound near-death experience gifted him with an increased spiritual awareness and a keen spiritual ear for advice and insight from God and the guides that God has assigned to us. Let's welcome to the show again, Vincent Tolman. We're so excited to see you again. Thank you for being here.
Excited to be here.
So,
It feels like it's the same day. I mean, it's been so close since we met
weird.
last.
We just
Exactly,
happen to be wearing the same outfits and sitting in the same position. What's happening? So, for anyone who's curious about your books, what is something that you wrote, that you experienced, that someone would read and make them go, wow?
Well, I'll tell you. So my book is called The Light After Death. I knew it was supposed to be called that the second I came back from my death, is because I experienced that there is light even after our death. And so that's why it is called The Light After Death. Now, in the book, one of the hardest principles I had to let go of, or had to work my way through, is the 6th principle, which is prejudice. I was raised in a family where I have 2 sisters that are Korean, or Korean Japanese, one of them, and then Korean Chinese,
Oh, that's
the
so
other
cool.
one. I was in this cross-race family or multi-race family, so I thought there's no prejudice. And I was a kid of the 90s, and so we would watch Cosby on Thursday nights, just like every other good family in the neighborhood. So like we didn't feel there was any prejudice whatsoever in our family. And that's when Drake, he smiled and he said, I'm grateful that that's what you believe, but how do you feel about prejudiced people? And I like lit on fire. I was like, I hate prejudiced people. They're so bad. They're
Yeah.
broken. They're dumb. They don't use their brain. I had all these descriptions for prejudiced people. And Drake, he showed me this little cartoon, and he showed me on one side there was like all these horrible world figures. Like we all know the names, right? Like Russia, Germany, like all these different countries of horrible people. On the other side is all these good people, right? And Drake showed me, he like lifted me off the good side and put me on the prejudice side. And he goes, "Do you
Wow.
realize by you hating them, you are them?" And
Wow.
it blew my freaking mind.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's when I realized that from that day forward, I was not going to let others tell me who I should or shouldn't hate.
Mm.
That I was going to learn to love all people of all beliefs, of all lifestyles, no matter what.
Mhm.
And that I don't have to agree with them. I don't have to
Yeah.
even endorse what they're saying or doing, but I do need to love them because inside that soul, there is light that is our creator. And that when we love one being on the creator's hand, we love ourselves. But
Wow.
also, when we hurt a being on the creator's hands, we hurt ourselves. There's no way to cause harm to someone else where we're not bringing harm unto ourselves.
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah.
possible way. That was a big one. That was a real
Yeah.
big one. It surprised me because I didn't think it was an issue for me. Not at all.
Right.
Yeah.
So in this world today where, we see left and right and like people think they're the right, how how do we do that when we all think we're so right and how it's something on the surface of just love your neighbor, but like how
A
do
lot
you
of it's
really do that?
A lot of it's technology's problem. It is, and
Mhm.
we're allowing technology to shape our reality. Here's something,
Yes.
okay? If you study every algorithm out there, if
Yeah.
you watch a conservative video and you watch it longer than you watch a liberal video, the algorithm will start feeding you more conservative videos, right? If you watch a
Yeah.
liberal video and longer than you do a
Yeah.
conservative, the algorithm will start feeding you more. So what it's doing is it's forcing you to choose a side of the line that's drawn right in the center. But here's the weird thing. When you look at actual humanity, 99% of us are centrists.
Yeah.
We're centrists. That means
Mhm.
we only care about taking care of our family and the people that matter to us. But what
Yep.
we're doing is we're letting technology and pundits extreme us to one side of the line or the other. People don't realize that around 70% of conservatives are pro-choice. About
Yeah.
40% of liberals are pro-life. They
Yeah.
don't tell you that. And why is because they need you to be pandering to one side of the line. This
1000%.
but that's why when the lights are off, the cameras are turned off, the bad guys, the good guys, they go get dinner together and
Yeah.
they celebrate, they hug. They're the same freaking team.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
are. And anyone who says they're not, they just have not observed enough in this world.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
So
Yeah.
Can we
don't let the world extreme you. And so
Yeah.
when you see a video, liberal, conservative, labor, parliament, whatever video you're seeing that's part of that pundency,
Yeah.
choose not to watch it. Like
Yep.
swipe up or swipe over. Don't watch it any further. And you teach the algorithm, ooh, here's a video where a homeless person is being helped. Let's watch that longer.
Yeah.
Let's feed the algorithm the good stuff, and the algorithm will reciprocate the good stuff to you. Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to do with our podcast too, is spread love, spread connectedness.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the line, "Don't let the world extreme you." You should if it's not trademarked
Yeah.
already, you should you should
You should.
Yeah.
do something with that because
Well, it's funny in the work that I do, I work with both of the extremes as far as individuals. And every 4 years, when the political gauntlet is handed over to another side, I'm playing nursemaid for
Mm,
one of the sides every 4 years.
yeah.
And I'm getting to a point where I'm like, how long have we been working together? why are we having this conversation? Why are there tears coming out of your eyes? This is politics. It's like the NFL. It's like the NBA.
Yeah.
It's like the WWE. It is no
Yeah.
different than organized pro wrestling. It is no different. So why are
Exactly.
we so
Love it.
emotional and
Exactly.
we're ready to give of our life, our income, and our welfare over this WWE? It's not
Exactly.
real. It's not real.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's so true.
Yeah. By the way, not to like I totally agree with you, but I would probably cry if like the Dodgers lost the World Series in the 7th game. Just saying. Just saying.
I could see that. I could see that.
Well, I just want to add on to that is like, sometimes we're on the West Coast and sometimes I go to the East Coast and I'm very liberal, but then when I go to these smaller towns to shoot movies, people are so nice to me and I'm like
Yeah,
they feel like family to me. And then when I see them posting, it's like hatred for quote unquote liberals and California
because they
people,
don't
and I'm like,
understand. They don't understand. And
exactly,
the same way you don't understand them either. But here's what's great
exactly,
is 90% of your principles are common. How is it that you both are
totally agree.
allowing your 10% difference to like
Mm,
think that there's this huge
Yep.
divide between you? There's not.
Well, that's the
There's
thing,
not.
in
Yeah.
person, we're so alike, we are on the same level, we agree, we love our families, we love our children, it's the same, but then online, it's, like, completely separate, and it's like,
I'll tell
"How
you
can
a
this person that
prophecy.
I love."
You
Yeah.
ready for a prophecy?
Yes, I would love one.
In the very near future, all of your heroes will be revealed as villains.
Mhm,
Mm.
All of your heroes. I mean
mhm,
religious heroes, I mean political heroes, I mean movie stars.
mhm,
They will all be revealed as villains. And I say villains very specifically because a lot of these people have been organizing with certain organizations that are strategically trying to treat humanity like cattle or
yeah.
chattel and separate them into two separate farms,
Oh,
only
yeah.
so that they can be controlled. But that day is coming where we will wake up and realize who we thought was heroes last year are the
Mhm,
very evil people who have been setting us up to hate
mhm,
each other all along. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I think all of that's coming out now.
it
I
is.
heard one
Yeah.
of your interviews like maybe 3 years ago, and you were talking about what you saw for the future, and literally they are happening now, and that's why I
Yep.
was so excited to talk to you because these are things I've been hearing since I was little, but, like, now that, like, you're saying it and it's literally happening, I
Yeah.
cannot believe it, and it's what do you oh my god, there's so much I wanna talk about, but, like,
Well,
what
I worked Hollywood. I didn't do a ton of major motion pictures. I did a
Mhm,
bunch of B movies. I worked a bunch of Disney stuff. I worked a bunch of like Hallmark and Lifetime films. But I did do a film with like Christopher Walken in it and
mhm,
Ricky Schroeder, who he's not so famous but a great guy, Chaz Palminteri, some major names, and Rod Steiger, a couple others. But it was a pool movie about being a pool shark, right? And in this little experience working with some A names,
yeah,
I reminisced of my days of working Touched by an Angel with some of the B
mhm,
names, some of the names that weren't so relevant. They were so
right,
freaking kind.
yeah,
Like Henry Winkler, one of the kindest freaking men I've ever met
right.
in my life, but
yeah,
also extremely political. That's the only time you
mhm,
don't see love coming out of his mouth is when he's talking about politics. But other than that, that man, love is emits from this man.
he
It
does, yeah.
does. So
I know his son, yeah.
living in that world, I was building up all these people to be some kind of hero to me.
Yeah.
And right away when I had my experience, I realized that none of them
Mm,
are like that. That they're all human. They're all part of the human race. They're all just as precious as all of us are. And
yeah.
that, grandma in middle America who has been, making lunches for homeless people for the last 21 years is is the superhero in heaven.
Mhm.
She's the superhero
Mhm,
and not the
mhm,
one making all these movies or
Mm.
having all these nonprofits or NGOs. No, it's the stalwart good people who keep doing good things despite the politics, despite what's going
yeah,
on. These
yeah.
are the superheroes on earth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
absolutely.
'Cause I feel like there's so many different ways that we can move forward in the conversation. We have all the lessons you learned in the book, then you have the abilities that you now have, you
Mhm.
have
I know.
the prophecies that you have experienced and have mentioned, and so I just think there's so many things here. I just wanna put them out there so we don't forget
I
any of them,
know.
okay? That's what I'm
Yeah.
I
trying to say.
know. All those 3 major points I would love to hit because it's just so fascinating and there's so much to learn from you. The principles are like, I go through them all the time because I think it
Mhm.
helps and I just wanna help
I
other
do too.
people, so yeah, if you could
I
please
lived
go
it.
through them, I'd love that.
I lived it, and I go through it all the freaking time. And
Yeah,
not just for interviews. I
yeah,
admit I do it a lot for interviews, but I do it for myself on a regular basis.
yeah.
So let's go through principle number 1.
Yeah.
Now, reminder, if you didn't see part A or the first portion, I was given these 10 principles in my NDE. I was given to them by a man named Drake, who was my guide. That fast forward to the end of my experience, I found out he was my great, great, great grandfather.
Wow.
And I didn't know that's who he was until, 6 months after I had my experience. But I was able to connect with someone who was kin, who was family, and I had no idea. I'd never seen his face a day in my life. Now, Drake taught me the first principle of authenticity. It's the most important thing for us. Until we can truly know who we are authentically, we cannot love another, not authentically, and we cannot receive love until we know who we really are. Now, does that mean 90% of the world doesn't actually give or receive love? It's pretty close, unfortunately. They feign love, they reflect love. But as soon as things get uncomfortable, that love wanes or the love runs out. It's because they're not authentically giving of that love, let alone authentically receiving love. So, authenticity is the number one most important principle for us. That means we have to learn, why are we putting up masks for loved ones? Why are we putting up masks for coworkers? Why are we putting up masks for our own family? Stop and put down the masks. Be the same person everywhere you go and learn what it's like to be 85 years old or 5 years old. Because for some reason, from 5 to 85, we stop being authentic. But as soon as we crest the top of the hill or the end of the hill of 85, we're now authentic. We don't give a
Yeah,
rat's ass what people think,
Yes.
and we are who
Yeah.
we are. Like, we
yeah,
need to be that way when we turn age 6, not
yeah,
85 or 86, right?
yeah,
So,
yeah,
authenticity, number 2, why are we here? Why are we on earth? The reason we're here is earth is a school. It's a classroom and not a courtroom. We're here to learn to create, learn how to build relationships, and heaven forbid someone convince us we're here to be judged. We're not. We're
mhm,
here to learn how to be a beacon of God's light on earth. We're here to be a vessel of that light and be a conduit of that light. We're not here to judge each other. It's not our path. And the third principle is love, that the most important thing we can do while we're here is learn to authentically give love, but more importantly, to learn how authentically to receive love. That's
yeah,
much, much bigger, because if we can receive love, we can authentically give of 10 times that love. It's kind of like
uh,
the banker's law in reverse. Like,
Mhm.
we can give 10 times the amount of love we allow ourselves to feel. And that's tremendous. Now, if we learn to be a strong vessel of that love, we will turn on a voice inside of us. And this voice is an inner voice, it's an intuition, it's a gut feeling, it's just an inner knowing. But it doesn't matter what we call it. It's the voice of our higher self. It's a voice of a higher side of ourselves that is waking up inside of us, and we can listen to it. But if we're not careful, that voice is going to be taken out by technology. That voice can be erased by technology. If the first
mm,
thing you do is reach for technology when you wake up, technology is your God. You do not have a real God. Ne-
uh,
Technology is the neon god that you pray to, that you bow down to. And so if the last thing you do before you go to bed is put your technology down, it's the same rule. That is your God. So choose to let something else be your God. Choose to put something sacred in that space. You can use your phone for it, but make sure you're not using your phone to be this open window to just anything to come in. Make sure
Yeah.
that from the 30 minutes of waking up and the 30 minutes before you go to bed, you put something sacred in that time. I call it the hour of power. When you put something sacred there, you will watch your life transform,
Mhm.
completely transform. And heaven forbid you put the phone away and you read this antique called a book, or you go out and you go for a walk and you breathe in nature or life in its natural form, and let that be in your hour of power. And what's neat is pretty much almost anything but technology, you can connect to the true one source in this world, which is our creator of the universe, no matter what name you put on it. And the that technology, if we learn to strike up a respectful, balanced energy with it, it doesn't rule our lives. But
Yeah.
that next principle that Drake taught me, 6, is prejudice. And prejudice, we already talked about a little bit that, if we have prejudice, even to prejudice people, we ourselves are prejudiced. So we have
Yeah.
to learn to exist in a space where we are okay with people having their opinions, even if
Mhm.
we don't agree with their opinions. And the
Mhm.
fact that we are not okay with people having opinions, that means we are not okay with everything that is false inside of us.
Mm.
So wake up. Everybody has mistakes inside them. Everybody.
Yeah.
And learn to love. Love that there is a fractal of light in all beings on this earth, even if they are the president of this or the prime minister of that, or they are the leader of the majority house, or like, don't hate the being.
Mhm.
You cannot like what they're doing or saying. That's okay. But
Yeah.
understand that there is a fractal of light in all beings.
Yeah.
And if you see the world as a world full of light beings, you won't give a rat's ass what the extremes are doing.
Yeah.
And if the world can keep you in a place of fear, you only choose from the options they give you. But if you stay in a state of love, you will divine your own options and your own choices, and they will be far better than what the world can deliver you. And that's the freedom of the future. Right now, majority of the world is incarcerated by prejudice, and you don't have to be. Tap into that love and find your own options, your own choices, and don't wait for them to come on a printed ballot.
Mhm.
Find your options long before they're on ballots, long before they're debated. But the seventh principle is that thoughts are the most powerful thing that you have control over. You're the observer of your thoughts and not necessarily the creator of the thoughts you observe, but you are the creator of the thoughts you keep giving yourself. So give yourself powerful, positive thoughts. You will watch your life turn into a powerfully positive existence and experience. But if you wait for your political party to give you your thoughts, you will constantly see a boogeyman, and you might as well look at the
Yeah.
political parties as what they are, and they're all Chicken Little. They're all going to show you the sky is falling. The sky is falling. You have to, check the ballot with us. You've got to side with us, because if you don't, everything in your life will disappear. That is
Yeah.
insane and wrong,
Yeah.
because the sun will shine again.
Mhm.
And what can you do today to be worthy of the sunshine tomorrow? Nothing,
Mhm.
because your existence here is what allows you to experience the sun. But if you're distracted by the separations of each other, you'll never see the sun, and you also will run around telling others that the sky is falling.
Yeah.
And that's not our purpose here. The eighth principle is avoid negative influences. So avoid the news, avoid politics. You can be political, but be it proactively. Don't be anti anything, because being anti anything is you're investing anti energy, and it makes the anti thing even bigger.
Yeah.
But choose to invest in pro things, pro-love,
Yeah.
pro-peace, pro-humanity, you will
Mhm.
find that it brings a whole nother power into your existence. And then the ninth principle is there is purpose in evil. What the world teaches you is evil is not necessarily true. The evil is that the world can paint a father or a mother into being a villain, and they're just a human.
Yeah.
They're just a human. So you know, evil does have a reason. And the reason is that if we didn't have evil, we wouldn't have a choice between good and bad.
Mhm.
All choices would be good. And if that's the life we wanted, we wouldn't have left where we came from. Because
Yeah.
where we came from, that place is so full of love. It's so full of love that there's no place for evil there. There's no bad choices there. And we are in total synchronization with love with our creator that we can't choose, because what the creator wants, we emphatically want. And what the creator doesn't want, we emphatically don't want. So we're in complete unison with our creator there. That's why we had to leave home. We had to leave home where there was bad choices and good choices. So it is important that there is evil, not that we should do it, not that
Mhm.
we should embrace it, but it's important that it's an option for us to choose. And then the last is we are all one, all of us. And I can't point my finger and say, this political party's bad without giving one part of that energy to my creator and three parts of that energy back at myself. But what
Mhm.
I can do is say, you know what? I like this person because they're a family person. I like this
Mhm.
person because they did this thing for the rights that I think are valuable and important. But not going after the anti, I have to go after the pro. And when I
Yeah.
go after the pro, I'm sending pro energy to my creator and I'm receiving three times the pro energy within. So it's
Yeah.
a powerful tool to look to the outside world and be grateful. And if it's hard to be grateful, look harder. Take a deep breath and pretend you're 5 years old. You'll find plenty of things to be grateful for. And as you find that gratitude comes upon you and it literally changes your life. One thought at a time, one choice at a time. I have watched people go from a life of constantly being in debt their entire life. They just keep going in debt. Every few years they file bankruptcy. And I've watched them just with their thoughts alone turn it around. Wow, car's paid for. Wow, I have a house. I'm not renting anymore. Wow, house is paid for in 6 years, not 36 years. And it all started with thoughts. The thoughts are what changed the outcome. It
Yeah.
wasn't waiting for the outcome to change the thoughts. They changed the thoughts and the outcome changed. And not because any political party taught them that. It's because they woke in the greatness inside of them and they started to listen to that. They awakened the 5-year-old that's inside of them and said, I'm going to see the world the way the 5-year-old does. I'm going to get this free coffee. I'm going to get, $20 worth of free gas because someone's so nice to me. And they see it as true miracles, or they see a kind smile from a stranger who's never smiled at them before. And that is a freaking miracle.
Yeah.
And when you see those things, it changes your life. And as we all are one and we receive good, we're now spreading the good to others.
Yeah.
Instead of attacking each other, we're spreading the good starting with us.
Yeah.
And as we do that, we'll watch our entire universe change. But those are the 10 principles I learned there.
That
Yeah.
is
We just went to
so
church.
beautiful.
I'm like, "Woo!"
Yeah, I know. I feel like
I
I was
feel
like, "This is
energized.
amazing." I'm like, "I wanna go change the world."
Before we keep going, if this conversation is resonating with you, please take a second to like, subscribe, or share it with someone who might need to hear it. It really helps us reach more curious souls, and honestly, this is exactly why we wanted to create this show.
Yes, and if someone came to mind while you were listening, send it to them. They might be meant to hear this too.
During your near-death experience, how was Drake giving you this information?
So he was taking it one slow principle at a time. I had 3 days essentially to get through these 10 principles. So I feel like probably most of the people in the audience would have made it through these 10 principles a lot faster than me. But I am a little bit of a slow boat for this. I really want to know I believe something before I accept it.
Yeah.
And so it did take me 3 days or maybe 2 days, and then I had one day in heaven. But across that experience, it did take me days to get through them. So pretty much what I did there in 15, 20 minutes, that took me 3 days. So it was worth it though. Absolutely worth it. I came back a changed person. You
Yeah.
know, I used to be a big fighter. I would get in lots of fights if someone, disrespected someone's rights in front of me, or heaven forbid, I almost was jumped in Kentucky because I saw one race of a woman chewing out another race of a man, and I stepped in to stop it because it was wrong. And that entire restaurant slash bar got up and they were ready to fight me and my friends. And
Whoa.
I'm telling you, that was my old way.
Yeah.
I was always looking for conflict, but I was always looking to be the hero, to be the
Right.
one making things right, and to put the bullies in jail or put them in their place
Yeah.
or beat them up and drop them in a ditch. Like, I didn't like bullies of any kind. Anybody that was trying to push their
Same.
beliefs or ideals on someone else,
Mhm.
I wanted to take them out personally. That
Yep.
was who I was. I've got an extra eyebrow right here from a headbutt once.
Oh my
And
gosh.
and I was very emphatic that if someone was a bad person, the world didn't need them anymore.
Right.
And that's wrong. That was so
Yeah.
wrong on my part. And I can tell you since my experience, I see some of the people that I judged as bad or evil, and I see
Mhm.
them as undeveloped goodness.
Yeah.
And that with a little bit of love from me and others, we watch a really amazing person come out of that experience. And that even in my own family, in my own circles, that there's unlimited amounts of goodness that can be there as we invest the good energy into others instead of the energy of like, that's a problem, I'm gonna take
Right.
it out, you know?
Oh my god, that is so beautiful. Thank you for telling us all that. So after your NDE, I've heard you kind of gain some spiritual gifts. Can you talk more on that?
Absolutely. When I first had my experience and I came back, I had a neurologist that said, Vinney, be really careful about what you think you remember about your experience because it's all delusion. It's not real. It's your brain trying to fill in the emptiness, and it's going to
Mhm.
use your imagination to do that. Well, I believed him to an extent, and I was able to see spirit, speak to spirit, even speak to Drake on a daily basis after I got back, all the way until I went and sought medical help because I thought if I'm really schizophrenic, I need to get on medicine. I need to help myself. And so I did go to a mental health professional. He referred me to another guy. So he wouldn't even take me on. He's like, I don't know what to do with you, bro. Sent me to another guy. The other guy, he said, I know what to do with you. You need this prescription, this prescription, this prescription. He was going to write me out 3 prescriptions.
Mhm.
And while he's writing them out, a woman appears in the room and I can feel that she's like grandmother energy or mother energy. It felt like grandmother. But
Mhm.
while she's sitting there, she goes, don't you dare take these prescriptions until you tell him this sentence. And the sentence was, don't forget I'm the one who saved you from the harm you had already experienced. And I stopped it. I stopped it. I nipped it in the bud and it never happened again. And that's why you got into mental health. So I said it. I said, bro, and this is like how I said it, because this is just me. I go, bro, you got an old lady here. She says she's like your mom or your grandma, and she says this. And I just told it to him. Well, this good Christian doctor with literally pictures of Christ all over his office, he points his finger at me and he says, get the F out of my office.
Oh
And
my
I was like,
god.
what did I do wrong? And so as I'm leaving, even his nurse who is like checking people in, she was like, "What did you do? I've never seen him cuss before." Like you could see it was a big deal for her too. And I'm like, "I don't know." I just left. And it's about 5-10 minutes later, I get a phone call. I answer it, and it's him. And he goes, Vinney, you really caught me off guard. That was a memory that I didn't even know I had.
Oh
You
my god.
He said, when you said that to me, all these memories flooded back in and they dropped into my consciousness. And he said, that had to have been stored in my subconscious for me to rediscover. But he's like, I know for a fact that what you are tapping into is some kind of real truth, but I don't
Oh
know how
my
to handle
god.
it and I don't know how to prescribe it or to treat it. He said, he said the medicine he was trained in had no answers for me. But he said, maybe if you go see a priest or you go see a religious leader, that you may get better direction there. So I did seek that later, and only
Mhm.
to find that it was kind of the same answer.
Mhm.
They didn't have answers for me. They just said, trust what feels like it's coming from the right place. And so
Yeah.
I did. I kept that trust. And 6 months later, I walked into this little town in Wyoming, and I was watching a presentation on the founders of the town, and up comes a picture of Drake. And it's on like this big movie screen in the middle of a football field in the tiniest little town of Wyoming. And I'm sitting here watching it live, but I was really pissed because it said his name was Charles. It didn't say his name was Drake, but I recognized his last name as the same as my grandmother's name. So I went directly to my grandmother's house right then, which she lived like 2 miles away. I go straight there and I go, Grandma, 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 tell me about this Charles Cosier, this Charles Kazare. Tell me about him. And her response was, oh, you mean great grandpa Drake? He's kind of famous in our family. And I lost it.
Wow.
I lost it. I started
That's
crying.
awesome.
I like kind of had to sit down right there. And I was like, what? His name is Drake? And she was like, yeah, Drake is his middle name. And if you were family or if you were really close, as good as family, you knew him as Drake. But if you were like, he worked in the state Senate, he worked in state government, county government, city government. He went by Charles so that which was his first name, so he could tell who someone was. If they came up and addressed him as Charles, he knew, oh, they're from my official capacity. But if they came up and said, hey, Drake, he knew they were family, even if he didn't
Wow.
know who they were. So it was a neat way that
That's
I
awesome.
got to realize that he is my great, great, great grandfather on my
Oh my
grandmother's
god.
side. Yeah.
Wow.
But it
I was
took
gonna
me
ask
6 months to
Wow.
get there, though. 6 months to before I could find out who he
Wow.
was.
but
Yeah.
like, I was gonna ask you how you figured it out, but that story is incredible because it's also,
Incredible.
like, the synchronicity of you
Yes.
figuring it out is,
Well,
like,
all the
incredible.
credit goes to my wife. She was my fiance at the time, and she was all about the remodel of Vinney. She knew I
Yeah.
was in full remodel energetically,
Yeah.
and I was not about family reunions. I was not about any of that stuff. And she was like, "Well, the new Vinney is." So she kind of voluntold me that I was going to go to
Yeah,
this reunion,
voluntold.
and I was gonna, and that's the other thing. We were at the reunion when someone comes up and hands us this little flyer and says, "Go to the high school tonight. You can learn about your heritage and some of your cousins." And I'm like, "Screw that. HBO is calling me."
Boring.
And she
Yeah.
goes, "No, it is not. We're going to the high school and we're gonna watch this." So truly, props goes to her, and not just there,
Wow.
in a
What a
million different
confirmation.
ways. She's the one that helped me tap into that higher side of myself. Yeah.
Oh
Wow.
my
It's
god, I
amazing when you have those
love that.
it's amazing when you have those moments with the people in your life and how, like, important these relationships are and
Yeah.
carrying us through these journeys and helping us become the best version of ourselves. It's incredible. I love that story.
Well, what I love is we don't realize. So everyone, close your eyes for one moment, okay? I want you to understand that sitting around you right now is bare minimum 10 generations of ancestors who are trying to help you get the life you want. That is what's sitting around you right now. And that's only your ancestral side of your guidance team. Now, I want you to think even beyond that. You have more than 300 generations of ancestors that are working as guardians, guides, angels, and ancestors, that they too are working to help you get the life that you want. These are unemployed angels. We've got to enroll them with our desires using prayer, meditation, or asking, but they are there for us. Okay, now open your eyes. But it's one of those things that we don't realize that every room we walk in, there's far more spirits than there is us. Far
Wow.
more spirits. And they're everywhere we go. There's
Ah,
no
that's
way to
awesome.
outrun them. You can't outrun them. You can't turn them off, and they never go away. Never.
I
Yeah.
feel so supported right now. Like, I mean, I think I
Yeah.
typically do, but just like that visual is so
Yes.
incredible.
It is
And
so
also one of the things
powerful.
that we've been hearing about a lot lately is just asking for help. Like if
Yeah.
we just have to ask it, we just have to put that signal out to the universe if we feel like we need that support because it's
What's
always
really
available to us.
what's really cool too is for the two of you, both Christina
Yeah.
and Marty, that not only do you have your own generations of ancestors, you have generations of ancestors of viewers that are coming in
Oh.
and trying to impact you to help deliver the message to their ancestor.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
in a normal room where you have maybe 20, 30,000 ancestors, you guys have 2, 3 million ancestors there, all
Wow.
pushing. So when you feel power come really strong over you, that's what it is. You're
That's so cool.
unleashing light and helping people tap into this light inside them.
Yes.
But you're doing it in a way where you're sharing your authentic journey with your own
Yes.
journey. And that's how it is. We all need to understand that life's not perfect. I mean, here I am, I speak to spirit and 12 weeks ago I was paralyzed. I was paralyzed.
Oh,
I
no.
could not walk. I was in a hospital and the doctors were saying, I probably have spinal meningitis, or I probably have this, I probably have that. I chose right then and there, I don't believe what you tell me. I
Wow.
believe what I choose to believe. And 3 days later, I walked out of that hospital. I needed help, but I
Oh
walked out
my
of that
god.
hospital. And I am 96, 97% cured from this.
Ugh.
But it's because I chose to believe my story and not believe the story they were giving me.
Yeah.
Wow.
I refuse to believe the story they gave me. And
Yeah.
that's where the biggest takeaway from my experience is understand this. You are the creator of your reality. That's why Christ said, the keys to the universe are within you. And that
Yes.
the universe is just you inversed. That means if you look to the outside universe and you think, ooh, scary, oh no, bad, that's inside we've got ooh, scary, oh no, bad. But
Yep.
if you look to the outside universe, it's like, wow, check out that sunset. Look at the bears, look at the deer, look at the beauty everywhere you go. I'm not talking about the football team bears. That's where
My
you can
husband can't
feel
hurt
that
that.
the universe inside you is portraying that to the
Yes.
outside, that they're one and the same. If you don't like the universe you wake up in, choose to start creating it differently because the
Yes.
Yes.
keys are inside you. They're inside you.
I
Yes.
legitimately feel all the support that you're talking about, the keys inside of you. When we have conversations like this, I feel the support of thousands of
You do.
souls.
Yeah.
I feel invigorated. I feel like I'm on fire, like it's electricity going through my body. And
It is
I love
electricity.
this. It's amazing. How can we take all these principles and the things that you see for our future and how our audience and ourselves, what can we do to like go through this change smoothly?
Yeah. Well, number one, if these principles speak to you, go get the book. If you don't want to get the book, you can go to thelightafterdeath.com and you can do a deep dive there where you can do a printout of the 10 principles. Or watch this back. I said the 10 principles, write them down for yourself. But
But
you
the book
take
is
one,
incredible.
and I will say this, it's incredible because of my co-author slash real author, Lynn Taylor, an amazing man, very gifted writer. He was able to take something that cannot be expressed in words and express it in words.
Yeah.
So, what a heaven sent blessing he has been. but choose one principle at a time and try to implement it. Try. And the only difference between success and failure is quitting. So don't quit. Don't quit on yourself. Don't quit on your goals. Set any goal. I don't care if you want to be a purple monkey who knows how to fly. Set that as a goal and don't quit. And guess what? Somehow the universe is going to help turn you into a purple monkey that knows how to fly.
Yes.
It might be a purple airplane that you're flying in and that you feel like a monkey, but somehow the universe will deliver you the very dream you have had. And I'm
Yeah.
telling you, I've worked with people where in year one, they set a goal to live in a certain kind of house. And I've watched them go and cut out of magazines. Not that we have those anymore, but back then we did. They cut out of a magazine the house, their dream house. Fast forward to 3 years later, and Spirit says to them, go pull out your vision board from 3 years ago. They pull it out and they're living in the freaking house that they cut out the magazine. The
Yes.
address matches, everything matches from the pictures inside. This is very real. Don't give up on your dreams. Set any goal that you want, but the quicker the goal can be achieved, the more it has to be aligned with your highest of intention, your highest of self.
Mhm.
And those very high vibrational goals, they can be achieved faster than you would ever believe. But that's the power of this life, is we get to choose if we succeed or fail. If we give up on ourselves, we've already accepted failure, whether it's even happened or not. But if we choose not to give up on ourselves, success will be ours. I guarantee you success will be yours. Just don't give up on yourself and keep trying.
Absolutely.
Keep engaging. Wake up and engage. Yeah.
What is one thing you want people to take away from this conversation today?
Learn that your creator loves you. If you don't know it, learn it. And if you don't believe that your creator loves you, wake up early and go outside and look at the system that was built up around you. And you tell me that the creator doesn't love you. Looking at that sunshine, looking at the light, looking at the leaves, the trees, the oxygen, looking at the heart that's in your chest that beats millions of times without ever being prompted, just to keep you alive. Look at these lungs that are built to take big, deep breaths while you're happy and shallow breaths while you're scared. This system, these flesh temples that we get to borrow while we're here, it is impossible to know these things and not know there's a creator that loves the shit out of you. And I mean that. Our creator thinks we are a divine masterwork. Every single one of us. And if you're a praying person or a meditating person, pray and meditate that you can feel the love of one blade of grass from heaven. And I promise you that you will feel something, and that what you feel is something so powerful and so high vibrational. It is fundamentally transformational in your existence. And then once you find it, hold on to it. Don't let go of it. Don't forget about it. Write it down, document it. And when you're having a bad day, go back and read that documentation. Don't forget that you're the divine masterwork, and live that way. Live that way forward. Yeah.
I
That was
was
so
crying twice
beautiful.
too in this conversation.
I can't. This is so much. It's like so much love. It's like unbelievable.
Because it's
Thank
real. It's real. It's not something contrived. It's not something created.
Yeah.
It's something that is.
Yeah.
When you plug into the creator, you know that love is, and that we are loved because we are a divine masterwork. That's it. Yeah.
You're amazing,
Amazing.
Vinney. Thank you.
Well,
Thank you. Thank you.
So great to meet both of you.
Please like and share.
And you can subscribe at thecurioussoulpodcast.com for all things curious.